Hi everyone and welcome back. I'm Heather Noble, and today I will be showing you a couple of ways to do an invisible join. I'm constantly learning new skills with crochet and I will continue to share what I learn with you. Let's get to it. Okay, so the first way I'm going to show you how to do an invisible join is in the round without cutting the yarn and changing colors. So I'm going to do my last double crochet, and I'm going to finish the entire stitch before I stopped partway through the stitch and changed color a different way, and that made the join be staggered in a spiral instead of meeting straight on and finishing the row evenly. And so this way will allow you to finish the row evenly without a spiral stagger on your end seam here, and it makes it virtually invisible, as you might hope with a thing called an invisible join. So I've pulled up my last loop a little bit further and taken my hook out, and what I'm going to do is turn and insert my hook from back to front. And I'm going to show you, I've pulled my working yarn to the back, so it's on the back side. This is my first stitch of the round, and I'm going to insert under both loops. Then I'm going to put my last stitch loop over my hook. I'm going to give it a pull so that it's on my hook well, and then I'm going to pull that through both loops of the first stitch. Now I'm going to turn back and look at the front side here. This is where I'm going to change color. So I'm going to find my other color here on the back. I have pulled the one I just finished over here to the side, so it's out of the way. But that's what your inside seam will look like. So I'm just going to pick up this yarn that I had just dropped from the previous round. I have not cut any yarn because I'm working in the round, and I'm just going to pull that through, and then I'm going to pull the last loop tight. So now I'm going to start the next round. So the first stitch of the next round is directly underneath where you just changed your yarn, and you begin your next round. So you can see it's a much neater seam. So I hope that helps as you work in the round, either doing bags or pillows or what have you. I'm always on the hunt for new techniques and ways to do things better, so this is the best I've found so far, and I will keep learning, as I hope you do as well. So that is an invisible join in the round without cutting the yarn. Okay, now I'm going to show you an invisible join, usually done at the end of a project, and you're going to cut your yarn. So I'm going to do my last stitch, and then I'm going to cut my yarn and pull it through that last stitch. Now I'm going to take my yarn needle, and I'm going to use it to make the final invisible join stitch. Now I've done one of these before. I've learned another way to do an invisible join from how I did it before. I used to work into the first stitch of the round, and when I did that, it made kind of an extra stitch in between the last stitch and the first stitch. In order to solve that issue, I'm going to work under the second stitch, both loops, with my needle front to back into the second stitch of the round. I'm going to take out my stitch marker from this first stitch just so that you can see what we're going to make is a stitch. It mimics a stitch. It's not an actual stitch, but it looks like the top V of a stitch. So now I'm going to work into the middle of the last stitch of the round and pick up just under the back loop. So I'm going to work into the middle of that V, into the back loop, and then when you pull it, the new stitch that you've made lays over the top of the first stitch. It looks just like the V of the stitch. You can't even tell that it's not the actual stitch. It mimics that first stitch. So when you look at it from the side and from the top, it's invisible. And then I'm just going to weave my tail in. So that's an invisible join usually at the end of a project if you're going to cut your yarn.
I hope these tips have been helpful to you. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.